Hello guys! Today we're going to know the history of skirts, which makes girls crazy in the fashion world. How did girls start wearing skirts? Why is it so popular? So let's get started. The presence of skirt can be traced back to prehistoric times when ancient men used animal pelts or fleece to cover the lower part of the body. A skirt can be explained as an outer garment that covers a person from waist downwards. The ancient Egyptian men wore skirt-like garment made out of linen. They wore a rectangular piece of fabric wrapped around the lower part of the body and tucked in at the front. The Sumerians in Mesopotamia wore koniks, a type of skirt tied at the waist with a belt. The men in Indus Valley civilization wore a cloth around the waist resembling a dhoti or wrap-around skirt. In the Middle Ages, men and women alike preferred dress-like garments. For men, it gave freedom of movement while working or building or farming or fighting. But during the Middle Ages, advances made in the area of weaving and tailoring introduced hosieries, tights, and trousers for men. They started wearing tunics and hosiery. One of the reasons that encouraged this style of dressing among men must have been the need for horse riding and a clothing offering better protection against cold while working outdoors. Anyway, skirts ceased to be worn by men except the Scots who wore kilts. All this time, women preferred dresses or gowns. Hoops and farthingales kept the skirt part of gowns voluminous. It's in the late 19th century when separates started to appear that women started wearing skirts. Women wore their skirts long as a mark of their modesty and prestige because fabric was expensive. A full, heavily embellished skirt made from exclusive, expensive fabric denoted the wealth of the wearer. Hoop petticoats were worn under the skirts to make it voluminous. Panniers or side hoops were also popular. The elaborate skirts were a symbol of women's role in the society. They were incapable of much work. During the latter part of the Victorian era, women started to lead a more active lifestyle with riding, cycling, and walking. Separate jackets and skirts made garments less restrictive and allowed more freedom of movement. The skirts became more streamlined to the body. During the 20th century, though skirts grew much in variety of styles and lengths, pants became a favorite in lieu of skirts. They were warmer, more convenient. The 20th century brought the hardships of war, and women were forced to wear shorter and more work-friendly clothing. The hemlines began to rise just below the knee, allowing flashes of legs to be seen. But after the Great Depression, hemlines again dropped to mid-calf or ankle. During this period, hemlines of skirts came into fashion as well as economic focus. Newspapers were reporting on the change of hemline length. The 1910 saw the hopper skirts becoming popular. It looked as if it was made to impede movement. The popularity of the hopper skirt fell with the entry of World War I. Restricted movement did not suit the wartime atmosphere. Throughout the 1920s, short skirts were popular. During this decade, the hemline rose several inches. Economic independence of women led to more freedom for the women to wear what they wanted: short skirts. In the 1930s, long length came back. With the advent of World War I, fashion was restricted. In the US, skirt lengths were regulated to be at 17 inches above the floor for prudence and economy. After the war, in the latter part of the 1940s, skirts changed into long, fully full silhouettes. With the new collection of 1947, Christian Dior's voluminous skirts with a line and knee-length pencil skirts and H-line were popular. The 1960s witnessed a completely new look in skirts when Marie Quant raised the hemline up and introduced the mini skirt. From then onwards, mini skirts became part of women's wardrobe. The hippie culture of the 1960s also introduced long, flowing, multi-tiered peasant skirts or gypsy skirts. In the 1970s, midi skirts were everywhere. A midi skirt has its hemline anywhere from the knee to the ankle. A shorter length skirt came back in the 1980s. Remember Madonna and her mini skirt? By the 1990s, fashion changed a lot. Dressing is divided into formal and informal categories. In the informal division, jeans became almost a staple in women's wardrobes. Jackets and pants formed the unisex office wardrobe staples for both men and women. With the popularity of subculture influences among youth, interest for streetwear boomed. In these trends, the importance of skirts are almost eclipsed when compared to previous decades. Skirt is today labeled as a youthful style, more appealing to the younger, hipper generation than anybody else. Today, skirts of all lengths and silhouettes, be it midi, or maxi, coexist in the fashion scene with equal popularity. Hemline and skirt length and style is in fact a matter of personal choice.